Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're tuning in. Today, we've got a fantastic roundup of essential Southern California updates, things that literally affect your daily life. We're going to break down all this crucial info right from the source material, so it's super clear and easy to digest. We've got a ton of ground to cover today, too. We're talking everything from making sure your ballot counts to wrapping our heads around some massive numbers in the state budget. Plus, we'll look at how to protect your own wallet and, maybe my favorite part, where to grab the best local food this weekend. Let's get into it.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. Number 1, getting ready to vote. 2, redistricting and voting rights. 3, finances, both state and personal. And 4, local community building.
All right, Section 1, getting ready to vote.
So with the state primary election on June 2nd and the big midterm on November 3rd right around the corner, getting prepped is absolutely crucial. To make sure as many folks as possible can get to the polls, California's Secretary of State, Shirley Ann Weber, rolled out these really handy online tools at registertovote.ca.gov. It's incredibly seamless. You literally just need a California driver's license, the last 4 digits of your social security number, and your date of birth. But here's what's really interesting. Look at the expanded eligibility. You've got pre-registration for 16 and 17-year-olds, which is huge. There are also same-day conditional registration options, just in case you happen to miss the deadline. And this is key. The formerly incarcerated, and that includes folks on probation or supervision, have their voting rights restored and can register. It's really all about empowering everyone to step up and participate.
Now, if you're planning to vote by mail, the Secretary of State has put together this unbelievably simple 5-step guide. Let's run through it. 1, complete your ballot clearly. 2, seal it up inside the return envelope. 3, sign the outside of that envelope. Seriously, do not forget the signature or it's going to delay your count. 4, return it quickly. You can mail it, drop it at an early vote center, or use a secure drop-off box. And finally, 5, track it. You can actually use the state's Where's My Ballot page. It's a super straightforward, logical process built just to ensure every single vote gets counted without a hitch.
Moving right along, Section 2, redistricting and voting rights.
So, shifting gears from the nuts and bolts of casting a ballot to the wider national picture. Governor Gavin Newsom made some incredibly strong remarks during his budget presentation recently. He was reacting to recent U.S. Supreme Court decisions and the redistricting efforts happening in other states. Specifically, he called Republican-led redistricting efforts that eliminate majority black districts, Jim Crow 2.0, and stone-cold racism. So as you can see, there is a fierce national debate happening right now over representation, and California's leadership is definitely making their stance known.
And we are really seeing a stark contrast across the country in response to those Supreme Court rulings on the Voting Rights Act. On one hand, California's State Assembly passed Assembly Joint Resolution 31 with a massive bipartisan majority, basically calling on Congress to strengthen the Voting Rights Act. But on the other hand, in states like Louisiana and Tennessee, redistricting plans are actively moving forward that eliminate majority black congressional districts. Actually, Tennessee's State Representative Justin Jones came all the way out to Sacramento recently to stand with the California Legislative Black Caucus. He was there to protest these map changes, stating that they slice up majority black populations. It is a highly complex, deeply charged national issue, but it has very direct ties to what California lawmakers are doing right now.
Okay, let's jump into Section 3, finances, both state and personal.
Pivoting from civic rights over to the economy, let's take a peek inside the state's massive wallet. $349 billion. I mean, just let the sheer scale of that number sink in for a second. That is Governor Newsom's revised state budget proposal. It really highlights California's staggering economic footprint. Remember, we're talking about the 4th largest economy in the world here, a literal tentpole of the entire U.S. economy.
So where exactly does all that money go? Well, the administration is proposing a record $127.1 billion for TK through 14 education. That pushes per pupil funding to around $27,700. They've also earmarked $500 million specifically for homelessness programs. But, of course, there are differing views on this. Senate Republican leader Brian Jones raised concerns, warning that this budget actually relies on a $5 billion tax increase on employers, which he argues is going to hurt the local business community. On top of that, Republican Assemblymember David Tanjipa described the budget as a pattern of deferred decision-making. He argues it basically just kicks larger structural problems down the road. It's definitely a fascinating look at the very tricky balancing act of state economics.
All right, let's bring those giant macro-state budget concepts down to earth.
right to the micro level of your own everyday household finances. Because just like the state has to navigate economic curveballs, families have to manage the harsh reality of unexpected financial hurdles.
First, let's be crystal clear about what we actually mean by a financial emergency. According to the experts, your routine bills, like a planned insurance premium, those aren't emergencies. True emergencies are the unexpected, highly time-sensitive things that you really can't delay. We're talking about things like your transmission completely dying when you need your car for work, or a sudden job loss, emergency travel, out-of-the-blue medical bills, or maybe urgent home repairs. You know, the kind of crises that can literally upend a family's budget overnight.
Which brings us to a super critical question. What should you actually do before you apply for an emergency loan to cover one of these crises? Well, the most essential thing is to pause and assess the situation. Experts suggest you review the full expense first. Confirm the exact dollar amount you need and the deadline. Can any part of it be delayed or maybe reduced? You really have to look at your income, your current bills, and your existing debt so you know the highest monthly payment you can comfortably afford before you ever start shopping around for lenders.
Now, if you realize you absolutely must borrow, you need what's called a responsible loan. A responsible loan is going to give you clear terms, totally transparent fees, and a realistic fixed repayment path. It relies on federal lending principles, making sure you get fair access and fair treatment. Listen, when you're in a crisis, transparency matters just as much as speed. Having clear terms helps you make a decision based on the actual facts rather than just acting out of panic or fear.
On the flip side, there are some major red flags you have to watch out for. Unsafe borrowing usually comes with vague fees, unclear payment schedules, and a lot of intense pressure to sign fast. If they're making verbal promises without putting it in written terms, run. Ultimately, if the payments don't fit your budget, it's not a safe bet. Think about it. A loan that solves today's problem but completely breaks next month's budget, that is not a real solution. Protecting your long-term stability has to be the top priority.
All right, Section 4, Local Community Building.
Let's all take a deep breath and move away from the stress of financial emergencies for a minute. Let's talk about something wonderfully uplifting. The city of Hawthorne, which is actually known as the City of Good Neighbors, just opened up a brand new weekly farmers market. It's located right at the Betty Ainsworth Sports Center parking lot, running every single Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. It is specifically designed to be this vibrant gathering space, a place where residents can pick up fresh farm-to-table produce, hang out with their neighbors, and really help the local economy thrive.
And the vibe? It sounds absolutely incredible. Picture this: families and couples just strolling through the market, grubbing and grooving on a lazy Sunday afternoon. They've got local violinist and composer Alan Price out there providing this amazing, eclectic live soundtrack. Having that live music truly elevates the whole space. It transforms it from just a regular market into a high-energy community hub.
Okay, but let's talk about the real star, the food. It is literally a feast of global flavors. You can grab steamed buns and dumplings at Cute Cute Bao, some incredible Korean barbecue at Gochujang BBQ, and these mouth-watering beef, chicken, or pork tamales from Imperio Gourmet Tamales. Oh, and if you have a sweet tooth, Chopin Artisan Bakery is right there, serving up freshly baked breads and pastries. That's all alongside tons of local vendors selling fresh fruit, artisan goods, and local honey. It's just a brilliant display of Hawthorne's local diversity and culinary talent.
Well, that brings us to our final thought for today's explainer. We've looked at some very real, very practical tools available to you right now. You've got the steps to vote securely and make sure your voice is heard. You've got the know-how to manage your finances safely and avoid those predatory loans. And you've got the opportunity to get out there and support amazing local spaces like the Hawthorne Farmers Market. So, I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. How will you empower your voice, your wallet, and your community this week? The information is right there in your hands. Thank you so much for joining me to explore all of this today. I really hope this deep dive helps you navigate the days ahead with total confidence. Catch you next time.